Hello and welcome to Talk of the Town right here on C19 TV. I'm your host, Tim Foster, in for Steve Putnam this week. And we've got a great show today. We're going to talk about something very important, I think, for our world and our country, and that is suicide prevention. And we're going to talk about the STAR Project. And to do that, we've got Joyce Davidson with us today, who is our guest. And Joyce, welcome to Talk of the Town.
Thank you, Tim. Happy to be here.
So great to have you here. It's summertime, but when we deal with mental health and the subjects and the topics around that, that is something that's year round. It's daily. And first of all, when folks hear Joyce, the STAR Project, when they hear that term, what is the STAR Project? Talk a little bit about how it got started, and we'll kick off today's segment kind of going in that area. But what, Joyce, is the STAR Project?
Tim, the STAR Project was created out of our energy of grief after having lost my son to suicide in April of 2022. Earlier that year, my brother lost his best friend, Jerry, to suicide. And in our conversation, he said, we have to do something.
Yeah.
My son's middle name was Starr, Starr.
Wow.
So it just made me think of his personality and the bright shining person that he was, and the star can just illuminate the sky, so it can also illuminate, our hearts and our minds and give us a place to look forward to.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say we just admire your courage to talk about this, and unbelievable to the impact this is going to have going forward with what the tragedy that you've dealt with in your life. So thank you so much for being on again today to do that. When you initially wanted to start this, what was, with you and your brother, what was some of the ideas that you had in mind that you were looking at to promote with the project?
We recognized a deficit in mental health care workers. One of the things that we started raising money for immediately was for educational funds. So we have created the STAR Project. We gave last year a $3,000 scholarship to a Gardner Webb student.
Wow.
We call the program affectionately Beyond the Bachelors.
Oh, okay.
Because we know that there's limited funds for someone who wants to go beyond the bachelor's, especially studying in the mental health field. So we created this grant to make available to folks who are moving on beyond their bachelor's to dedicate their life and their career into the mental wellness field.
Yeah.
The other was just getting the word out in the community. I remember as a child, when cancer was very, secretive. You didn't speak about illnesses.
True.
And there's such a stigma along with mental wellness issues that people don't talk about it. They don't talk about it at their dinner table. They don't talk about it among their friends, and they suffer in silence.
Yeah.
And I just really wanted to say it's okay not to be okay, and your okay may not be my okay. So we're dedicated to sharing that word, helping to erase the stigma, helping to build our community of resilience that creates a safe, brave place for people to be able to seek out help and to feel supported.
Yeah, and when you talk about the Mental Health Association here in Cleveland County, I think it's such a wonderful group and a support group, and there's so many different aspects. I mean, you were talking about Compeer, that I had a fortune enough to work with one of my classes with Compeer a couple of years ago to work on a video. But Mental Health Association of Cleveland County is really strong. But back to your original point, there's probably just about if you don't know somebody or yourself, there's a lot of people that you run into an average day that are dealing with some kind of mental health issue. Now, it may not be totally depression. It may not be somebody that's on the verge of suicide, but everybody is, I guess, in a generic way to say, Joyce, everybody's dealing with something, right? They may not be talking about it. It's not something, you're right, that you just walk up to a person and say, oh, well, how's your mental health today? That's not how we usually kick off conversations, but everybody's dealing with a little something, right?
Absolutely, yeah, every day. And you don't know what someone's dealing with at the stoplight, in the grocery line, within your place of worship, within your place of work.
But in your neighborhood.
And absolutely.
Yeah.
And in in my world, the way I see it, it's going to be okay for us to say, hey, I notice you're a little off, and I want you to know I'm here for you. What can I do for you? And to be able to walk them through the process of getting healthier. And a lot of that begins with self-care, self-compassion.
Yeah.
That is one of the wishes that I have for the STAR project is what if we made it part of our curriculum in our community to learn self-compassion, because we can be so hard on ourselves when something doesn't go right or when we make a mistake. And oftentimes, and in the situations that I've been involved in surrounding suicide, people feel that they're not good enough,
Yeah.
that they are not enough. And teaching self-compassion can help change the
Trajectory. Yeah. That's a tough word to say.
I should not have chosen that word.
Yeah. The trajectory, yes.
For their thought processes and
Yeah.
to be able to get help. So my journey actually started with Melanie McSwain at the Mental Health Association. I had found out about their organization, and I reached out to her, and it started over a cup of coffee.
That's awesome.
And so now we're part of a bigger movement, thanks to UNC Chapel Hill, Carolina Across 100, Our State, Our Wellbeing. We partnered with Partners Healthcare and the Cleveland County Health Department.
Yeah, and we didn't mention the health department. That's got to be a great resource as well.
So we've got a lot of ideas on the books, and this is brand new to us. We just spent the last year with UNC Chapel Hill learning about the resources that are available to us, which is an abundance, and just getting to know people who have cool and creative ideas on how to gather the community together with one voice for erasing stigma, increasing mental wellness opportunities for people, and preventing suicides through those actions.
Yeah, and I know you're going to mention some statistics here momentarily, but as you were talking, I was just thinking about, when you think about mental health and you think about the effects, it's not just on what some people may say a normal everyday individual. We've seen it with celebrities. We just saw it with a golfer in the last month or so. We've seen it with celebrities through the years. Kind of talk a little bit, Joyce, about the fact that with mental health, there's nobody. It's not just a certain group of people. It's anybody. It doesn't matter if you're a millionaire. It doesn't matter if you look as happy. You're on the silver screen. You're a musician. You're an artist. It affects everybody.
It does. It does. It is a mental wellness issue, whether it be from trauma. Whether it be from just circumstances around you, or whether it be chemical. We will more likely go to the doctor because we have an ingrown toenail before we'll seek out assistance for our mental wellness.
Absolutely.
Again, one of the stigma things that we're working really hard to help reel the community in, to help us change that thought process. But you're right, there are no barriers. There's no socioeconomic barriers. There are some statistics that say that rural areas are more prone and apt to suicidal incidences in the community, and Cleveland County is considered more of a rural area. As a matter of fact, when we talk about statistics, the North Carolina average for suicide rates in North Carolina is 14.1. The Cleveland County suicide rate is 14.3.
Wow.
That 0.2 just gets me. I mean, any of it gets me, but that we are above the national average, as well as the state average, is alarming. And when we talk about statistics, another one of our projects that we're working on currently right now is barbershops and gun locks. I didn't make this up. I am taking this away from our partners with the Carolina Across 100 in the Raleigh community.
Sure.
Dr. Harris had a plan to bring it into the barbershops where it's a safe, brave place where people can talk about things. You know, think about that. When you sit in your barber's chair, your beautician's chair, you
Yeah.
usually
There's
share some intimate things there.
Usually you talk about everything.
Absolutely. And so talking about gun safety just seemed the natural place when that was a brainchild of Dr. Harris out in Raleigh. And so I talked to him about it, and I said, hey, you know, can we copy what you're doing? And he said, I would love it. So the program involves your beauticians and your barbershops,
I love it. Yeah.
teaching them how to show someone how to install a gun lock. And then there's no pressure, there's no warnings. You know, they at a barbershop, they don't care if your gun is legal, they don't care where you got the gun, you know, they don't care how many guns you have, just that you have a gun lock, you have a safe place to put your gun and to keep it out of the way, becoming a way of self-harm. That is one of the things that I'm really passionate about at this moment, and I'm excited to get that started. Some terrible statistics to share is that 64% of suicides in North Carolina are with firearms.
Yeah.
And 53% of the youths who take their lives by suicide used a firearm. 76% of veterans who took their life in North Carolina used a firearm, and 77% of our elderly, which is 60 and above.
Yeah.
In a survey that was just recently conducted, only 25% of homes in North Carolina secure their guns in some way, either by a gun lock,
Yeah.
or by a safe of some mechanism.
Yeah.
But only 67% of those that are secured are actually locked.
Yeah.
So there's access to them.
Yeah.
And some might be asking, what does that have to do with suicide? And I've been raised around guns all my life.
Sure.
And most people in Cleveland County, I would imagine, a lot of people, they talked about that at UNC, about North Carolina, you know, being a gun state.
Yeah.
Most people think, oh, what does my gun in my house have to do with safety? Until someone explained it to me that in a moment of desperation, when your thoughts are on suicide,
Yeah.
when you feel that there is no hope and that you are just so downtrodden, that 1 second, that one moment that you could think about having access to a firearm could be the difference.
Absolutely.
So having those locked in any situation is just so paramount in protecting, especially our youth. What if we could erase 53% of the suicides in North Carolina just by locking our guns up?
Yeah, and that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. Well, Joyce, we are certainly, and our viewers, we're talking about a powerful subject today on Talk of the Town, suicide prevention. And Joyce is going to stay here because we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the QPR. I want to know a little bit more about that, some more stats, and more about the STAR project and some of the plans for the future of the STAR project. So stay tuned, stay where you are. We're going to have more Talk of the Town right after this.
Today I'd like to make everyone aware of the risk of skimmers. First, let me tell you what a skimmer is. A skimmer is a device that is often installed at a gas pump that is used to steal credit card information. When you use your card at the pump, a skimmer is disguised to look like a card reader and collect both card and PIN numbers that can be used to replicate and create counterfeit cards. Now let me tell you some of the best practices to protect yourself from skimmers at the pump. Always ensure that the tamper tape at the pump you're using is intact. Skimmers are installed inside the pump housing, and this tape ensures that the pump has not been opened. Always try to use the pump closest to the entrance to the store. Skimmers are often installed at the pump furthest from the store and the camera systems. Pay inside whenever possible. Cover PIN pad when entering your PIN number to protect against pinhole cameras. I
Only prediction I'd make is I'd be pretty willing to bet I won't be doing it in 20 more years.
My question is, where's our residual checks?
144 have taken Republican ballots, and Wes and 2 others have taken Libertarian ballots.
Pravda, however, PBS, however.
Wes.
Wes.
Ladies
and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
She gets her hair from her mom, her eyes from her dad, and her drugs from her home medicine cabinet. Fact: more people die from drug overdoses than from car crashes or gun violence. And over 50% of those deaths are from prescription drugs. Prescription drug abuse is preventable. 1. Secure and take regular inventory of our medications. 2. Dispose of unused or expired medications. 3. Share this message with others. Be aware, don't share, lock your meds.
Glad you're back with us on Talk of the Town this week. I'm your host, Tim Foster. And again, we've got Joyce Davidson with the Star Projects. Great to have Joyce back with us. Joyce, again, thanks for being here today. Very powerful subject today. We're talking about suicide prevention. And Joyce was talking about in the first segment what she's dealt with in her life as it relates to that. And Joyce, let's talk a little bit about something called QPR. A lot of people may be saying, what's QPR? But talk about QPR and how it's had the impact in your life.
Thanks, Tim. QPR is a suicide prevention training. It's for layman people, just normal people. That's how I found out about it. The QPR is an acronym. It stands for Question, Persuade, and Refer. In the questioning portion, when you're having a conversation with someone who you feel may be having thoughts of suicide or dealing with some mental issues, to question them, to ask them how they feel, but also to be brave and create a safe space to ask them if they're feeling that they want to harm themselves. And you can ask those questions in many different ways.
Yeah.
Do you feel as though there's no hope? Would you hurt yourself? Do you want to hurt yourself? Do you have a plan to hurt yourself? So when those questions come up and those questions are answered, you can address those. With QPR, you're not a medical professional, you're not a therapist,
Sure.
You're a concerned person.
Yeah.
And you're creating that safe, brave space for that person. As the questions go on and the conversation comes up, most people, in fact, statistics show that when you ask that question, that there is an immense relief for them that someone sees them,
Yeah.
that someone sees their struggle. And then they begin to create that trust where they can share with you how they feel. The P is persuade, so to persuade them to seek help. We do have a lot of options in Cleveland County. We're navigating through to create a map for that to make that easier, but there are some sliding scale opportunities for
Sure.
people who are uninsured, even up to free services. There's some organizations that we'll be adding to our website as we gather that information to be able to refer people to services that are within reach financially and distance-wise, even virtually.
Yeah.
The R stands for refer, so helping them to get connected. So that's where 988 comes in. That 988 is not just for people who are struggling with mental wellness issues or thoughts of suicide. It's for people who are supporting those people. If you just want to know how do you talk to this person. But I highly recommend the QPR training, which we received, the STAR project received a grant from the Cleveland Collaborative through the help of the Mental Health Association of Cleveland County.
Okay.
And we trained 10 QPR gatekeeper trainers, and we are available in the community. We are connecting with faith-based leaders, community leaders, other nonprofits, to offer QPR training. This is a totally free program, and it just teaches you how to be brave and have those conversations with people that you encounter, and this could save a life. It is proven to be able to save lives.
And I think it goes back to kind of what we talked about with the QPR training. It's not something you're going to wake up and you know, somebody's going to say, well, at 10 o'clock this morning you're going to have an opportunity. I mean, you got to be ready, because you never know when you're going to run into this scenario where you may run across somebody, maybe a friend, maybe a stranger that is talking about possible suicide or talking about some elements relating to that. And I love the fact that you were mentioning text 988. There are resources out there. You just talked about a lot of them, but talk a little bit more about that. In Cleveland County, we have resources to help folks, correct?
Yes, we do. The Phoenix is an organization that offers mental health therapy and services. There are a lot of organizations, but 988, just simply by calling 988 or texting 988, they can provide you the resources that they're connected with.
Yes.
Again, because of the newness of our organization and our collaborations, we're working on a roadmap that is going to better serve Cleveland County. That is one of the projects that we're working on together with the team that joined the Carolina Across 100, Our State, Our Wellbeing program.
Yes.
But 988 is simple. It's simple for youth as well. You can text 988. You can do chats at 988.org. And this, you know, in the age of technology, this is a way for people, you know, to be seen and to be heard in a more comfortable space for them. It's safe. It's confidential. And it's proven to be helpful to folks. There are some other projects that are in the works with faith-based leaders to train them to be able to respond to situations like this, because we realize that is a need out in the community, in the faith-based community.
Absolutely.
To have those people equipped. We've done several QPR trainings right inside some of our community churches. Been really well received.
That's awesome.
And I feel like it empowered them to be able to take care of one another and to be there for one another.
Yeah. Without getting political either way, how do you think our country handles, and we've just got a few minutes left, but is discussing mental health in our country, have we dropped the ball, you think, in some ways? Without not getting political either way, but I think there's a lot of work to do. Let's put it that way. Do you agree?
There's a lot of work, yes. Drop the ball, maybe not, but you know, we need to pivot. One of the
great
things
word, yeah.
One of the words that I hear, one of the things that I hear a lot in our community is teenagers. They're seeking attention. If they know how to say, I don't feel like living anymore, that's serious.
Tremendously.
That's you know, and it shouldn't be taken lightly.
Yeah.
You have two choices there. You can work with folks who have those thoughts and help them to redesign their life to wellness.
Yes.
Maternity, postpartum maternity is
Yes.
a very, very real space that some people find themselves in.
Yes.
In regard to you know, just not feeling the same after giving birth. It's such a beautiful experience, but then there are so many of our mothers who this negatively affects them, and it's chemical, and there is help for that.
Yeah, there's many, and I've known a few that have been perfectly healthy their whole life, and they have their first child, and they battle this, and they don't know exactly what's going on, but there's help out there, as you
and
said.
you don't see it coming. So yeah, my thought is to bring as much awareness as we can, using our government agencies to help us to build this structure to where everyone feels that they are enough and that they have resources to get help when everything's not okay. I think that's super important, and that's the path that we're hoping to drive.
We've got just a couple minutes left. Joyce, if folks want to know more about the STAR Project and the future of the STAR Project, what's the best way to contact you about that?
So you can go to our website, thestarproject.org.
It's on the screen.
And it's on the screen, and our telephone number and email address are there. You can look at events, post and future events. There's a direct link to 988 so that people can learn more about 988.
That's awesome. What's your prayer for the future of the STAR Project?
My prayer for the future is to see the next time that we get real numbers, that those numbers decrease, that we can save lives, that we can change how our community responds.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm really thankful for what the Mental Health Association does in Cleveland County, what you're doing with the STAR Project in Cleveland County through with what you've been through. But there are resources, and again, I want to touch on this. You talk about, text 988, but there are resources out there, Joyce, and as we wind down, we got about a minute and a half left. Reiterate the importance of if you're going through something, if you're struggling with something, if you're having thoughts of suicide, there's help out there. Talk a little bit more about that, Joyce.
Thanks, Tim. Yes, if you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of suicide, 988.org, text or call 988. There is help and there is hope out there, and you are enough.
Yeah, I think that's very important. Joyce, thank you so much for being a part of this special talk of the town today. I'm excited about the STAR Project. We just encourage folks to have more questions, to check out your website, to get in touch with you. I'm sure you have a lot of great conversations out there. And I think more importantly, as we wind down, and you see on the screen, thestarproject.org, 704-710-6604. I think you talked about the QPR, you got to be ready. You never know when you may have to have that conversation with somebody you know, somebody you may not know, and maybe somebody, it could be at work, it could be in the grocery store, it could be as you're walking in your neighborhood, but be prepared, right?
Yes, it could be in your living room.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. No doubt about that. Joyce, thanks so much for being here today and telling us about your story and about the STAR Project, and I hope to have you on Talk of the Town again soon.
I would welcome it so much, Tim. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And if you've got story ideas, you see it on your screen, just email us, info@c19.tv. That's where we get future ideas for stories on Talk of the Town. For Talk of the Town, I've been Tim Foster. We hope you have a wonderful summer, and we'll see you again next week.
America, sweet America. God done shed his grace on thee. He gave me crown not good. Yes, he did.